been to Collinston, Louisiana before?
No. Small town. What, like 300-something population?
I guarantee you everybody there knows everybody else and their business and everything about them. On August the 27th, 2006, 67-year-old Maddie Williams was not answering her telephone, and that caused her children to call the police.
Maddie Williams got the name Mother because she was like a mom to so many kids, let alone her 13 kids.
She would give you anything she had. She didn't have to know you. She would just help people.
So when somebody like her gets murdered in a little town like that, it's a huge thing. When the sheriff's office arrived at Miss Maddie's house, her purse had been rifled through. There was blood spattered on the walls, and she was not at home.
So she went missing, and there was like a huge town search for her.
Just come on down. We found Maddie Williams' body.
Okay, they're on their way down there.
Come on, please.
She had been stabbed several times, and she had an unknown injury to her head. There has to be somebody in that town that knows more about what's going on than what we've ever heard.
Mom wouldn't open the door for anybody. It has to be somebody she knows.
There's no way you're gonna just let somebody kill your mom and you just sit back and watch.
You're barking up the wrong tree, partner. I ain't do that.
Kelly and I are up to speed. We know the case history. We're here to look at this nearly 7-year-old case and hope that we can bring some closure to this family. Maybe there's just some little point that we can open that maybe would make a difference.
Miss Maddie, who's so beloved by everyone and who ends up getting violently murdered. We're determined to solve this case. Our goal this week is to talk to all the witnesses we possibly can and try to get to a point to where there is sufficient evidence to bring criminal charges against the people or person involved in killing Maddie Williams.
It has been 16 years and still no answers.
Police consider her killing a cold case.
Years later, the case is still unsolved.
There are so many cold cases out there just waiting to be solved.
The crime scene ultimately tells the story of the murder.
We want to bring justice to these victims.
Hi. Terry, Yolanda McClary, nice to meet you.
Hey, Terry, I'm Kelly. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Kelly. I'm happy to meet y'all. This has been bugging us for a long time. We could really use some help. I'd like to introduce you to Chief Randy Tappan and Sheriff Mike Tuck.
Nice to meet y'all. We're glad to have y'all. Thank y'all for coming.
Nice to meet you.
You know, I knew Miss Maddie all my life. She lived just right up the road from me. I used to be over at her house playing with her kids when I was little.
What was the town like when it happened, her funeral and all that?
It was sad, very sad.
I'm just real concerned if something don't shake out at this point that this thing may lay cold indefinitely.
I think the problem with this case is that initially the investigators focused too much on what they didn't have, the murder weapon, fingerprints, or a strong witness, instead of focusing on what they do have, which are all these little pieces that if they developed them just a little bit further could get them just to where they need to be. I want to see everything you have because we want to download your brain into ours to make sure we know everything that you know.
Okay.
Honestly, in a case like this, the more minds at work, the better. Johnny Bonds and Armando Perez have over 40 years combined of murder investigation experience, and they are masters of interrogation. They've studied the case, and if anyone can get people to give up key information, it's going to be them.
Johnny Bonds.
Terry White.
Terry, nice
Glad to meet you, sir.
Armando Perez, pleased to meet you,
Terry White.
Maddie Williams. She is what we call a totally innocent victim. I mean, she's just in her house minding her own business, and somebody comes in and kills her. I think in this case, you feel a little more driven to find the killers. We're assuming that the motive in this was robbery.
I would agree with that.
I agree with that, yeah. When you end up working cases like this, one where the victim's purse is lying on the floor with items from it scattered about, it's safe to say that it was probably a theft that resulted in murder. And I think also that there's a good possibility there are going to be two suspects involved in this.
Yeah, I think that you have two different knives involved. What actually killed her was 2 knife stabs to the side of her neck, cutting her 2 main arteries. Also, she had a lot of superficial cuts to her, but something hit her in the head, making very unusual marks. Not sure what that came from.
Okay, so why don't we start talking about the suspects? From the beginning, Terry, who were y'all focusing on?
A guy named Stanley Mitchell had been seen driving around her house, sitting in his car across the street in the days preceding.
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is go meet the family.
Yeah.
morning. Morning. I do appreciate the family members being here today.
Miss Maddie has 13 kids. She has umpteen grandchildren. These are all the people that are hoping someday they can get answers to this stuff. They don't have any.
By the end of this, what will we have learned new?
I think you're going to have a lot more questions answered, even if we don't get to arrest somebody. I hope we do. We wouldn't be here if we didn't think we could, baby. Okay? Where do y'all think the killers first confronted her?
At the front door. She let them in.
Mom wouldn't open the door for anybody. It had to be somebody she know.
Y'all know who Renwick Jackson is, right?
Uh-huh.
Would she open it for Renwick?
Yes. No. I say Mom would open the door for Renwick, because she knew Renwick.
Right. I have to dispute that theory because she didn't trust him.
Any reason for him to ever go to the house?
No.
What other thoughts about this that we're talking about right now? Yes, sir?
Well, what I have to say is kind of touchy, but we got a brother named John.
Miss Maddie's son, John, behaved suspiciously after her death, and he was called in for questioning.
John would come over there sometime and want to borrow money, and if he didn't get it, he would get mad.
That's important. Oh, no, what's the worst he ever did to her?
To my knowledge, he may have talked back.
Did he ever hit her?
He tried to one time.
Yeah. Let me say this. John has respected Mom.
Really, I think John probably got involved with some wrong people. Maybe Raymond might be one of them, and probably owed them some money. And John went to Mom, probably tried to get the money.
How many of y'all are thinking like Harold?
She naturally opens the door.
Okay, let's just assume for 1 second that that's the truth. But at the point that somebody is murdering your mom, you're going to intervene. There's no way you're going to just let somebody kill your mom and you just sit back and watch.
There are over 200,000 cold cases across the country ready to be solved.
We're not afraid to go across America and find those killers. I've tried 68 murder cases in my career. I have never lost.
I'm a crime scene investigator out of the Las Vegas Police Department.
We're tough enough to do this job.
A new real-life crime series, Cold Justice, premieres Tuesday, September 3rd at 10, only on TNT.